Greetings and salutations, everyone, and YouTubers. Welcome to Sing with Strings TV. Thank you for stopping by. First off, I want to thank all of you for doing that and taking the time to check out the channel. If you give me a few more minutes of your time, I can explain the philosophy and the ideology and, dare I say it, the mission and statement of this channel, or the objective, so to speak. It's, in short, a celebration of everything that is wonderful and awesome about music. First off, my name is James Begley. I'm 45 years old. I've been a semi-career musician since 1998. I was born in 1971 in Dayton, Ohio. My father was a former national act and touring musician, singer-songwriter, and my mother was a psychologist. So I had a very eclectic upbringing, so to speak. My brother is 3 years older than I am, who was also a national act and national level vocalist, has been ever since he was, well, single digits. Before he was even 10 years old, he was already performing on stage. So, to make a long story short, I grew up in a wonderful music market between Dayton and Cincinnati and was fortunate enough to see just about everybody you would ever want to see live. I remember in 1989 I saw 192 concerts in that year alone. We had a club outside of Cincinnati, Ohio called Bogarts that pretty much offered shows 5 out of 7 nights a week. If you had the funds, you could pretty much see 5 shows in a week if you wanted to. So it was very plentiful as far as being able to see live music. Very diverse too. A lot of genre jumping. But anyway, my father being a singer and my brother taking to it at such a young age, I also became enamored with vocals, and to get to the heart of it, I'm a melody junkie. I think that the melody line is kind of what I latch onto when it comes to music in general. I usually don't even know what the words are until after I've somehow bonded with the melody line of whatever the song it is that I end up becoming interested in. But so when I became a singer, it was very easy for me to become influenced by what was prevalent and what was popular during that time period, being the late 70s and the early 80s. So my influences are heavily steeped in what you might call classic rock, or that kind of thing. And I guess Queen, Freddie Mercury, Led Zeppelin is my favorite group of all time, so Robert Plant, of course, is a huge influence on myself. My favorite recorded vocalist of all time, which might shock a few people, is Steve Perry of Journey. Just, for some reason, I've always connected to whatever he's written as far as the melody for whatever said song was, and he's definitely one of my favorites. Steve Walsh of Kansas, Bradley Delp of Boston, of course David Bowie, Sting, Police. The list goes on and on. But being a singer, I also, being a fan of music in general, I became kind of obsessed with guitar playing also at a pretty early age, and it was also another set of circumstances where influences at that time were undeniable. So you're being bombarded by people like Eddie Van Halen and Randy Rhoads, and of course the icons David Gilmour, Jeff Beck, Eric Clapton, Jimmy Page, Mark Knopfler. I'm forgetting tons of people. Peter Green. I can go on and on for days. Gary Moore, Uli John Roth, tons of people. But it wasn't until 1984, when I was around 13 years old, that I heard Yngwie Malmsteen, and it was his first album. And the song, of course, Black Star opens up the album, but Far Beyond the Sun, which is the second track on that album, just completely flipped me out. I just had never heard anything quite like that, and from that point forward, it kind of, I don't know, warped my perception on how the guitar was approached. And up until that point, it was a little bit more meat and potatoes, and people were basically soloing within the context of traditional music theory and whatnot. So diminished scales and minor modal arpeggios and that type of thing weren't used as commonly as it was until somebody like Yngwie Malmsteen came along, and that just made me a guitar freak. So not only was I a singer freak, that I was a guitar freak, so I become kind of split loyalties there. And around that same time, just a little bit after that, I joined my first rock band, and I was around 14 years old. It was a band called Chaos. Nice name, huh? K-A-O-S. And we were all in the same middle school. Our oldest member was 15 years old, and we had two guitar players, and one of the lead guitar players' name was Chad Evans. He was absolutely amazing. He was around 13 years old at that time, and he already had phrasing that was very mature. He could just nail solos note for note, and I was just absolutely mesmerized by what he was doing. So in between practices, me being the singer, untested, and never really performed at that time, just went, hey, sure, I'll do it. Just went for it. And but every time that we had practice, if we had a break, I was always asking Chad to kind of show me, some techniques on the guitar, so I could almost kind of do a little bit of what he was doing, because I was it was pretty spectacular. But to make a long story short and to jump forward a little bit, I weaved in and out of some other different industries and never really fully latched on to a career in music until later on, around closer to age 30. I was around 27, 28 years old when I finally decided to go for a career in music as a full-time, full-time endeavor, and put forth everything. I quit a very good job, very stable job, and just chucked it all and went for it. And just so I wasn't one of those guys that was around the age that I am now, that was sitting around thinking, well, what if, what if I didn't want to be one of those people that had any regrets of not going towards something that you really wanted to do or really wanted to pursue because you had a dream about something. And music means that a lot to me. It's my avenue. It's my platform. It's a way for me to express myself creatively in all emotional levels, be it sorrow, extreme bliss and happiness, and everywhere in between. I like to think that I feel in musical terms. So melody, I think, kind of goes hand in hand with that, and that's the reason why I chose to call this channel Sing with Strings, because when I wasn't singing with my voice, I always wanted to kind of sing with my hands. I felt that a lot of those same vocal melodies could be kind of transposed or arranged on the guitar. And I'm not the first person to, I guess, adhere or adopt this sort of style or whatever. There's plenty of people out there that do that exact same thing. It's just that I gravitate towards it because I'm so I love melodies so much. So I chose to not only sing melodies with my voice, but I also want to sing melodies with my hands when I'm playing the guitar. And don't get it wrong, or don't get me wrong. I love shredding, and I love playing a million miles an hour constantly. But every once in a while, I like to just slow it down and flow and vibe organically with whatever the music is. And I love to be able to kind of just organically, kind of almost, kind of drift into whatever, the vibe is of the music, and add to it what I can or what I hear inside of my being, inside of my soul and my heart. So it's just really important to me to be able to express myself with music, and that's one of the reasons why I chose to develop this channel, because now, since the industry has changed so much, it was harder and harder for a regular musician to have a place where he could express himself musically. And thank goodness for the advents in technology and platforms such as YouTube that we have now, that we can, kind of create atmospheres and environments for all musicians to appreciate music, which is, to me, what the heart of this is. It's all about appreciating music. And I just hope that everyone kind of can, understand where I'm coming from as far as like it being so important to me to have an outlet to still be musical and to still do something with music, for the duration of my days, because I can't see myself ever being in a place where I could be without music. It's that important to me. I think that I try to imagine a world without music, and to me, it's a terrible place. So I just I want to thank you all again so much for subscribing or watching any of my videos. It means a ton to me. And stick around, because this is going to get really cool. We're going to do all kinds of stuff: gear reviews, guitars, amps, pedals, strings, cables. We're going to continue to do the instrumental versions. We're going to continue to do improvisational work and genre jump between metal, funk, jazz, progressive, country, dare I say it. We're going to do it all, because this is only the beginning, and I can't thank you enough again. I hope you all stick around, and we'll see you around. Bye.